Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Week 3 preview and the Week 2 review of the Odyssey Fantasy Football League, where this week, we'll do a little scroll through of everything here. With the players of the week, we see Jared Goff, Jonathan Taylor, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Tucker Kraft, Brendan Aubrey, Ravens defense. Bench warmers of the week, Russell Wilson, I believe that is Ramondre Stevenson, Romo Dunze, Zach Ertz, Younghoe Koo, and the Rams defense. Just to give you a little quick overview of the league awards for the week. Nothing too crazy. There were a couple of 200-point scorers. And then we're going to go over to the standings, where your boy finally won his first game. So in first, we see Minus go up from, I believe, 5th to 1st. Second place, my boy Cam. Third place is Braden. Fourth is Adams. Fifth, Kawhi. Sixth, Dials. Seventh, your boy. 8, ATS. 9, J. 10, Magnolia. Oh, we'll get to Magnolia. 11, Burrow. And 12, Montez. So, we are going to now do a Week 2 review to kick us off here, where you see I won by a pretty large margin over Burrow, which I guess isn't that impressive because he was the 12th seed going in, or the 11th seed. 12th seed? He was the 12th seed going into last week. Now he's the 11th seed because he actually scored some points this week. Mainly thanks to Jared Goff and another guy who we'll get to in a second. Jaden Daniels and Justin Herbert were very solid. Jared Goff popped the actual fuck off. CJ Stroud was not all that great. Isaiah Pacheco and Kyron really sold Burrow here. Chuba had a great game against the Cardinals, which basically solidified part of my win here. Christian McCaffrey with a 24 bomb. Honestly, he did less than he did with all of his weapons healthy. So, that's a little bit concerning. Terry McLaurin was very questionable again, but then again, so was Mike Evans. And then we see Amon-Ra St. Brown and Malik Neighbors, who absolutely went off this week for yards on yards on tuds on tuds. God damn, stop these two motherfuckers. Kincaid outscored Ingram by a solid margin. Johnston carried the flex, basically was the reason I won, to be honest. The Broncos defense played like shit for him. Overall, great week for me. Then we go on to the shootout of the week. We got Kawhi versus Adams, with Kawhi coming out on top to the shock of me. Caleb Williams and Trevor Lawrence played very solid. So did Dak and Stafford. Devon Achane and James Cook absolutely balled for Kawhi, while Breece Hall and James Conner had very lackluster weeks. But then we go down to the receiver, and it was the other way around, where London and Waddle were lackluster, and Puka CeeDee Lamb, who let that receiver core happen, balled. Brock Bowers, McBride, we saw McBride just do better overall. Keenan Allen, Travis Etienne were very solid. Jaylen Warren was solid, but Aaron Jones sold. Then Brendan Aubrey casually, look at Brendan Aubrey and the Ravens defense putting up skill position numbers for Kawhi. What was Adams ever going to do? Minus knocking off Jay, we see Jordan Love ball. We saw Drake May ball. Kyler was not all that great. Minus still won with starting Justin fucking Fields. Omarion Hampton shit the bed for Jay. We saw Jahmyr Gibbs and JT, even Bijan have some good weeks. We saw T. Higgins and Nico be mid again. We saw McConkey and Smith be worse mid. Laporta played pretty solid. Hunter Henry did not do shit. Devontae Adams and J-Mo cooked on the flex for minus. Jordan Mason and Ricky Pearsall, not so much. Overall, very solid week for minus. Then we see this. Magnolia, we gotta talk, man. Because you played like shit, man. You played like shit. Braden gave Magnolia some of the most disgusting, diabolical belt to ass we have seen in the Odyssey Fantasy Football League. And he did it with 1.5 quarterbacks because Joe Burrow got fucking injured. Lamar outscored Josh Allen and Michael Penix on his own. Bucky Irving and J.K. did better than Tony and Tracy. Jamar Chase went off. Judy, not so much. BTJ, not so much. Jacoby, not so much. Tyler Warren went for another 12. We saw Andrews go for 1-5. Pickens and Kenneth Walker went off. Olave was relatively solid. DJ Moore was okay. And the Bills defense coming in clutch for a 2-hundo bomb for Braden. Next matchup we gotta cover, Dials knocking off ATS. Pat Mahomes absolutely frying, while Jalen Hurts and Aaron Rodgers were painfully mid, and JJ McCarthy was terrible. See Saquon and Kamara outdo Demo and Swift, not by much though. Debo and Jettis outdoing AJ Brown and Ted McMillan. Tucker Kraft dropping 24. Javonte Williams dropping 27. Like, god damn. Dials with the victory. Then we go over to Cam versus Montez, the final matchup of the week. Cam getting the victory. Bryce Young finally played pretty decent. This was just a really bad week, really unlucky week for Kawhi. Derrick Henry only going for 3.4 points. Garrett Wilson not doing well. Calvin Ridley being disappointing as shit. Hollywood Brown not doing much of anything. Just a really rough week for Montez overall. Now we go over to review week 3. We're kicking off. You got your boy taking on the commissioner himself, Jay. Now, I did make a trade in between weeks here. I traded so on Tuesday, Wednesday, whenever, I saw the news about Jaden Daniels possibly being out this week, and I'm like, I can't lose to the commissioner. That would be embarrassing. And granted, this might have been a bad move for the future, but, like, I needed a little bit of depth at skill positions. He needed a better quarterback, so we traded Jaden Daniels to Braden to replace Joe Burrow, to get Danny Dimes, who has been playing like an absolute stud, and George Pickens, who is going to be a solid flex option for me, finally getting Matthew Golden the fuck out of my lineup. I will say, it doesn't look great on paper, but you gotta remember, Daniel Jones put up an even better week 2 than he did in week 1 against a better defense, a top 5, a top 3 defense. He put up those numbers on Patrick Surtain, for fuck's sake. I have faith in Daniel Jones this season. Sue me. Playing against the Titans this week, he should absolutely fry. Justin Herbert, I think, will also play very well, even though he is against that Broncos defense that Daniel Jones just cooked. So we'll see if the Broncos defense bounce back. Hopefully not. We have Kyler Murray, Drake May on the other side. I don't love Kyler. Kyler's been very rough to begin the year, and I honestly just don't think the breakout's coming. I think he's just destined to be a mid-quarterback, and that's okay. And then Drake May had a great week, granted, against the Miami Dolphins, and I expect him to do pretty solid against that Steelers defense. Sam Darnold and Justin Fields both fried it. I think Drake May will have no problem doing the same. Go down to the running back position. We see CMC and Chuba Hubbard locking it down and running back for your boy. Bijan Robinson on the other side, but then you got Jordan Mason in the number 2 slot. Don't love that, but we'll see how that works out against a weak Bengals defense. Now, we're facing our first-round draft pick this week. We're facing Nico Collins as well as T. Higgins, who I'm not very worried about anymore because now he's getting thrown to by Jake Browning. Taking on Terry McLaurin, who, if he cannot cook the Raiders' defense, I don't think he's going to be good this year, just straight up. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown, who put up a 40 bomb on Burrow last week, so hopefully we can get at least like 25-30 out of Amon-Ra this week, right? I think I'm starting... I can't decide if I want to start Zach Ertz on the Raiders or Kincaid on the Dolphins. I think, and though it's going to absolutely tank my team projections, I think that actually might put me... Oh, no, I'm still up. Okay. I'm going to put in Kincaid. It's against the Dolphins. I mean, You know, the Commanders also might be rocking Mariota this week, so less confidence. I'm going to go Kincaid. It's the safer option for this week. We go down to flex. We see George Pickens, and I'm putting Chubb in the lineup because Chubb was actually pretty fucking good last week. Pretty surprisingly, Chubb has been a relatively solid flex option this season. Have not been utilizing it because of previous incidents, but I have faith in Nick Chubb, at least against the Jaguars defense. And then we see George Pickens, who of course we traded for. Then on the other side, we have Bill Krosky, Merritt, and Omarion Hampton. Hampton has looked really rough. I'm just realizing I'm facing my 4th round pick too, because I had Omarion Hampton at 1.2. I traded Terry McLaurin and Christian McCaffrey for Nico Collins and Omarion Hampton. That trade's really working out for me so far. But yeah, Omarion Hampton, questionable. I honestly had him as my offensive rookie of the year. That looks to be biting me in the ass, but you know, it's okay because he's not my team anymore. And then Bill Krosky Merritt, who, granted, was shit last week, but against an astounding Packers defense. And Austin Eckler's out for the season now, so he's the clear number 1 at this point. He should do fine, realistically. And then we have Packers defense against the Browns. The Packers defense might put 20 on me this week. I really need the Steelers defense to lock in against the Patriots, especially since I'm facing Drake May and I have the Steelers defense. That'd be great. If things go how I feel like I have him beat at almost every position to a point where I'm like, I don't even want to sound cocky, because this would be the 3rd week in a row that I give myself the win, but like, I genuinely cannot see Jay winning this matchup unless we see some generational performances from people who normally do not have these performances. So I'm going to give myself a win here. I think it's possible his team wins, especially if Drake May absolutely kills the shit out of the Steelers defense. That would be fucking heartbreaking for me. We'll see what happens. I think I have this in the bag. Next up, Kawhi coming off a 203 bomb, taking on ATS. Starting off with the QBs, Jalen Hurts, Aaron Rodgers against T-Law, Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams, I mean, he's not terrible. He's not great. I think against the Dallas defense, especially after we saw what Russell fucking Wilson did to them, I think Caleb Williams will not be complete garbage this week. I think he'll be a pretty solid option. Trevor Lawrence might throw 7 picks to Derek Stingley alone this week, because Derek Stingley is his father. We all love Derek Stingley. The Jets should have drafted Derek. I'm okay with Sauce, though. It's okay. Top 3 corner, anyway. Who cares? I am rambling now. Okay. But realistically, Texans defense, one of the better ones in the league. I have a lot more faith in them than I do Trevor Lawrence. So I think he's going to be a bit of a bust this week. I think Aaron Rodgers should play pretty well against the Patriots defense. I'm not ruling out that he doesn't, but I think he should. Jalen Hurts against the Rams, I think realistically he'll be fine. I think the most set-in-stone quarterback in this matchup is probably Jalen Hurts, even though he's kind of iffy realistically. But we'll see, right? Interesting QB rooms for both sides. Then, for the running backs, in what might be the most disgusting, lopsided thing we've ever seen, we see James Cook and Devon Achane, who both play tonight, so we'll see how that happens, take on Demont and D Swift. Dear God. Why? Why is this a running back room in a 12-man? Why? I don't understand how this is a serious RB1, RB2 situation. Cook and Achane are going to kill them. I'm not even... What? Okay, am I going crazy? Or is that Calvin Austin at wide receiver too? This is clearly ATS's favor for wide receiver. I'm not big on Calvin Austin. People really picked him up because of a couple of catches he made on the Jets defense, which has looked pretty shaky to start the year off. Drake London, I think, will overall be fine. He is playing the Panthers. J.C. Horn is a very capable corner. I don't know how that's going to work out, but I think he'll be fine. Justin Jefferson against the Bengals, he might pull an Amon-Ra. Hell, he might put up 50. Debo, I don't want him to do good, but he's dead-ass starting to look like the wide receiver one in Washington, so that's not great. I like Njoku a lot more than I like Freiermuth here. Freiermuth is like in like a three-headed monster of tight ends. And Njoku does have Fannin on his trail, but at least he's like actually a stud. Freiermuth is trying to just like, okay. We go down here, we see DK Metcalf, Zay Flowers, Jalen Warren, and Wanda. Is he starting Wan'Dale Robinson and Calvin Austin? This is going to be a shit matchup. I don't... Who's on your bench? You're benching Sutton and Watt. Are we real people? Okay, I don't understand some of the people that he's benching. I see Travis Hunter on his bench, on ATS's bench. That's tough. I'm going to give the win to ATS here. I hate his running back room so much. But Kawhi's team just makes me want to puke sometimes. So, other than his running backs are insane. Okay, next up, this... Oh, man. You got Braden versus Burrow. This can't possibly go well. Jaden Daniels is currently fine, I think, but assuming he doesn't start, which reports are leaning toward he's not going to start, he's going to be starting Jake Browning. So, as of how it stands, I'm confident in Braden's side. I think even with Browning, I'd still give it to Braden's side. It's kind of rough to tell here. Realistically, Lamar Jackson is the best quarterback on the board here. Running backs, you got Bucky Irving, J.K. Dobbins, Kyron Pacheco. I think that Bucky Irving's going to drop 30 on the Jets' head this week. I think the Bucs are just going to straight up kill the Jets. So that's going to be a fun one for me to watch. Pacheco is fucking horrible. I'm sorry to be the one to tell everyone who drafted him in the 4th goddamn round. Pacheco is terrible. He is awful. No, he is bad. He is bad. That's going to bite me in the ass. And then we see wide receivers, Malik Neighbors, Mike Evans, Jamar Chase, Jerry Jeudy. I do have a lot more faith in the Neighbors and Evans side. There are questions with Jamar Chase with the Jake Browning. Jerry Jeudy is just not that good, and he's facing the Packers, so... I love Tyler Warren this season. He definitely over Evan Ingram. They're both questionable. Look out for that. Kenneth Walker, Calvin Ridley. Don't love the Calvin Ridley start, but, you know. On the other side, we see Cam fucking Scatterboo, so we'll see how that goes. And then Marvin Harrison against the 49ers. I mean, he could be solid. Overall, I am going to give the win to Braden here. It's not that close. I don't really have to cover it that much. Next matchup, you got Magnolia, who dropped 92 points last week against Minus, the number 1 seed currently. Starting Michael Penix, I missed this trade completely because Justin Fields is benched. Did he cut Justin? Oh, no, Fields is out. Forgot about that. All right, so Josh Allen, Cam Ward, Jordan Love, Michael Penix. I think Love and Allen are both going to absolutely nuke each other. Cam Ward and Michael Penix are still to be seen. I think Penix should be fine against the Panthers. Cam Ward will see against the Colts. Overall, a very we'll see matchup. Then we see Jahmyr Gibbs, Jonathan Taylor, and Do You Want to Die, because that might be one of the best RB rooms in the league. That or maybe Cook Achane. Probably one of the two. Magnolia rocking Chase Brown, Tony Pollard, finally bolstering that running back room a little bit with Chase Brown. Go down to receivers, BTJ, DJ Moore. Jesus Christ, who let them cook with this? On the other side, I see Rome Odunze, Devontae Adams. Got Jake Ferguson versus Laporta, Lad McConkey, J-Mo, A.O. Manor, Smith. Did he... who did... I feel like he benched somebody. Alright, whatever. This is surprisingly even, but I'm gonna give this to minus. I think everything else is even enough to where I'm comfortable saying that the fact that he has a extremely good running back room, and the fact that we don't know if Aoman is any good yet, I think it's safe to give minus a win here. Next matchup is Dials versus Montez. And Montez, my man, you have a chance to get out of a shake this week because Dials cannot make a move for a quarterback to save his life. He still has J.J. McCarthy, who is not going to be playing for the next couple of weeks, in his QB2 slot. This is pretty bad, especially when you consider that Baker Mayfield is playing the Jets and Sam Darnold is playing the Saints for Montez. Now, granted, Mahomes is playing the Giants, so, I mean, Mahomes could just drop 50, but we'll see. Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley is always an electric matchup, even though Derrick Henry looked like complete hot garbage against the Browns. I fully expect Derrick Henry to bounce back against the Lions. Travion Henderson, I still really just do not like as an RB2 spot. Alvin Kamara is a great RB2 to have. Then you go down to wide receivers where you see Tyreek Hill, Garrett Wilson for Montez, A.J. Brown, Ted McMillan for Dials. This could realistically go either way. I'm going to give it to Reek and Wilson. We see Kyle Pitts. We see Tucker Kraft. Tucker Kraft might be the number one tight end in the league. Javonte and Raheem Shaheed for Dials. Cooper Kupp, Cedric Tillman for Montez. So going to be a very interesting week of football to watch for both teams. But with that being said, I am going to have to give a win to the 12-seeded Montez just because I can't confidently say Dials is going to win a matchup when Dials doesn't have a second quarterback. So I have to give the win to Dials, or to Montez here. And finally, you got Cam the man taking on Adams. This should be a fun one, right? We see Dak Prescott, Matt Stafford for Adams. We see Bryce Young, Bo Nix, a younger duo for Cam. I think Dak against the Bears is probably the best quarterback in this little group. Then for Cam, we see Josh Jacobs, Ashton Jeanty at running back versus Travis Etienne, Breece Hall. Both very, very, very solid RB rooms. I would give an edge to Jacobs and Jeanty. I didn't actually see this. Limited first practice of the week? Huh. Okay, I didn't know that. Still going to give it to Jacobs and Jeanty, though. I like that tandem. I think Jeanty can be solid. Wide receiver, I don't even have to go over this. I see JSN and Jacoby Myers. I'm like, okay, that's not terrible. And then I go over to the other side, and I see Puka Nacua, CeeDee Lamb. Especially with Lamb facing the Bears. So, I think... we get a Bowers-McBride rematch because Cam's, I don't remember how, but he got Trey McBride. We see Olave Amika, and we see Connor Keenan for Adams. Overall, I think that this is going to be a very, very, very solid matchup. I think that there's no real right or wrong answer to give for this matchup. Honestly, I think this matchup is probably going to end up being the closest of the week. And with that being said, I'm going to give the win to Adams because I think Dak and CeeDee against the Bears, but then Amika facing the Jets. I'm going to give it to Adams. I think Dak and CeeDee might put up enough points to win on their own. That's really my only reasoning because I'm very on the fence about this matchup. To finish off this little video, I'm going to quickly run over to transactions. Kawhi picked up the Colts defense minus with the Bucks defense. Ignore this. They retracted and accepted trades 5 times, but this was the trade. Minus trading Rico Dowdle, Devonta Smith, and Keon Coleman for Tyrone Tracy, Michael Penix. I guess. For some reason, a bunch of kicker and other stuff. We see this trade where Magnolia would send Jacoby Myers, Darnell Mooney, RJ Harvey, and Chris Olave to Cam for Jake Ferguson, Josh Downs, and Chase Brown, the big part in that trade. Minus picking up Marcus Mariota, Montez dropping Isaac Tesla. Relatively quiet week overall. And then I also told you DJ and JD5 for George Pickens. If you enjoyed this video, do not forget to leave a like, sub for some more extra shit. I'm going to be doing this every week up until the championship, even if I get eliminated. So I'll see you for those. Peace.